Hi everyone, welcome to the Complete Anatomy quick walkthrough video. In this demonstration, we'll go over some of the key features on what Complete Anatomy has to offer. In today's learning objectives, you'll demonstrate how to change and manipulate the virtual model in a 3D space. You'll apply some of the body systems to your anatomical model, such as the musculoskeletal system and the cardiovascular system. You apply some of the tools in Complete Anatomy by cutting through your anatomical model, labeling a structure of interest, drawing on your Complete Anatomy model, and using the Discover key where you can peek through the human body. You'll use some of the redo or undo modifications if you wanted to retrace some of your steps. You'll explore the many features of what the information box has to offer when you click on a specific region of interest. And lastly, we'll look at the model icon where we can pinpoint to an area where we would like to study a bit more, such as the lower extremity, the abdomen, or the upper extremity. Okay, so now we're in the Complete Anatomy platform application. I'm going to click on Models, and we're here with the friendly skeleton. So we're going to learn how to manipulate and rotate this skeleton. So it's going to be a little bit different on your iPads. So if you want to zoom in, you will pinch outwards. If you want to zoom out, you'll pinch inwards with your two fingers. If you want to pan around the skeleton, you'll use two fingers to pan around. Now if you want to rotate it, you just need one finger and you can just slide it like this. So that's what we can do with manipulating the 3D model of the skeleton here. So let's add some of the body systems to our friendly skeleton. So by clicking on muscular, I can add a whole bunch of layers, and you'll see muscular layers populate. So there's a few layers on this guy, and if I don't want to keep pressing plus 100 times, I can simply hold down on the plus button, and I get all the musculature, even on part of the cranium here. So that's just holding the plus down. If I want to remove all the muscles, I will hold down on the negative key, and we're back. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll add all the musculature. I'm going to add some arterial systems to it, so you can see some of the arteries. You'll see the arteries start to populate. And we'll add some of the veins. Now you see some of the more detailed view of the vasculature. Okay, so let's try and apply a tool. So I'm going to focus on the upper extremity right here, and I'm going to use the cut tool to cut through the arm right here. Okay. So on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see tools, and you have a whole bunch right here. So we're going to press cut, and we're going to stick with this one right here. And we're going to cut through the tricep and the bicep right here. So that's just by dragging it right here. And I don't want to go any further than that because then it's going to cut part of the abdominal muscle right here. So I'm going to press cut right here. And it made a nice solid transverse cut. So I'm going to press done because I don't want to cut any more muscle or bone. And now I made a cool cross section right here, and I can see the vasculature and the bone that was hiding beneath the bicep muscle right here. Alright, so I'm just going to rotate it here so we have a nice cross section. And now I'm going to use the label key. So by pressing labels, I can select any structure of interest that I would like to label. So if I click right here, I get the short head of the biceps muscle, and I can move around this label pretty much anywhere, and it's beautiful because it shows a line directing it towards that region of interest. So I know there's another muscle lying beneath the biceps. That's the brachialis muscle. So we'll put a label right here. The humerus. And we'll get some of the extensor muscles of the arm. Medial head of the triceps. Should be the long head. Let's see if we can get the lateral head. No, okay, we'll just stick with these right here. Excellent. Okay, so now we have the labels of all our muscles right here. Now I'm going to use the pen feature. So I'm going to press done right now with my labels. All right, so they're all right here. And I'm going to press pen. So what I want to do with a pen, usually you would like to delineate or differentiate between some of the structures. I'm going to color code my muscles to differentiate between the flexors and the extensors. So if I press on the bottom here, I have a whole bunch of colors that I can choose from. I'm going to select, stay with orange, and I'm going to trace around the extensor muscles. One thing to note is you can draw in 3D or 2D. I'm going to draw in 2D just to give you two different examples. Okay, so that's our extensors. I'm going to choose a different color. I'll choose blue for the flexor muscles. Just going to trace around here along the short head of the muscle of the bicep and the brachialis. Okay, so once I press done, you'll see what happens when you draw in 2D. If I flip this model this way, the drawing that I made, it doesn't stay within that cross section. So when we use a 3D pen, you'll see what happens. So I'm going to quickly introduce you to the undo tool. If you hold down undo, you can retrace all of your steps from what you've previously done instead of pressing it 100 times. So I'm going to go back towards the add cut. And I'm back towards my cross section, so that's perfect. So select it on 3D, perfect. All right, I'm going to trace around here. And I'll trace around my flexors, bicep, and the brachialis muscle. Okay, I'm going to press done. You'll notice now the drawing stays within that cross section compared to what the 2D had to offer. It was wrapped around the whole anatomical model. So when you want to draw something on a specific portion of the body, use a 3D pen. Okay, so now that we covered the 3D pen, I'm going to start back in the beginning. So I'm just holding down undo and clear all tools and undo all. I'm going to select undo all. And we're back to the friendly skeleton. So now I'm going to show you the Discover tool, but first I'm going to add some layers. Cardiovascular system, some of the muscular layers, just to show you what the Discover tool can do if there's things underneath. Okay, I think that should be fine. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Sure, let's add the lungs in there. So they populated. Okay. So with Discover, it provides a little window or see-through ability through the anatomy. So I can change the size of the window. I'll keep it quite large for now. And then I can just drag along, and there's the heart. Perfect. So I'm going to press done. And now I can see the heart right through the sternum, which is pretty cool. Layer off there. I don't want to see the epicardial region. Okay, so now I'm going to select a specific piece of anatomy here. Let's go with the right ventricle. Okay, we have the anterolateral wall of the right ventricle. So now I wanted to talk about the information box. So here you'll get a lot of study material from this area right here. So it gives you a whole body of knowledge of what this structure is all about. Let's first talk about isolating just that one specific region of the anatomy. So if I press isolate, I can isolate it to that portion of the heart. And I can rotate it and look at all the trabeculations there. Really neat. If I wanted to read other parts of the anatomy, I can do that. If I wanted just to hide that portion of the anatomy, that is also possible too. And look, see part of the valves here. Very cool. Okay, so there's a few more other options with the information box. As you'll see here, you have cross sections, models, treatments. So by clicking cross sections, I can cut through the heart through the transverse plane. So let's try cross section 2. And now I have an MRI CT slice of all of the anatomy in this area. So again, I can do all the same tricks, zoom in, zoom out. And if I wanted to make some labels, I can do that here too. Just press Tools, Labels. There's a lung. You'll see 3 ellipses underneath each label. And you can read up on that specific region that you labeled. Quick facts, origin, course. So again, a lot more information when you're putting those labels on. Okay, let's jump out of the cross sections here. And it should take us back to our, our anterolateral. It also shows us treatments. So different treatments for the heart, for heart disease, like coronary bypass, if someone has diseased coronary arteries. Defibrillator, someone who needs a defibrillator who has an abnormal heart rhythm. And it shows us something wrong with the heart. So a wealth of information. Another interesting feature with the information box is this breadcrumb trail above here. So it says we're at the anterolateral wall of the right ventricle. If we just wanted to focus on the heart in its entirety, we can do that right here. And again, it gives us more information, some models. So these are just some more detailed models of blood and blood vessels. Another cool feature, we can explore. And then we can look at all the different parts of the heart. And we can do this for other parts of the anatomy as well. We can assemble it. And another cool feature, we can speed up the heart if we would like to see it beating faster. And pause it along the cardiac cycle during atrial contraction and ventricular contraction. Okay, so we're going to go through one more feature, and that's the models option. I'm going to press models at the bottom left-hand side. So there is a whole bunch of options from detailed models all the way at the cellular level to parts of the microanatomy. But we're going to focus more on the gross anatomy regions in this course. Let's take a look at the lower limb on the left-hand side. Okay, so it cut part of the friendly skeleton with its muscles, and it just showed us the left portion. Perfect. So if we just want to focus on the lower extremities, this is all what we need in order to look at that anatomical model. Alright, so I'm going to show you some other interesting tools, especially on the bone side. I'm going to take off the muscles first. Again, that's just holding it down. And as I increase the layers or options with bones, it will show me the different parts of the bone, surfaces, landmarks. But what I'd like to see is the origins and insertions. So this is helpful to figure out where the muscle starts and where it inserts. So if I click on this region here, it will show me that the iliacus muscle originates in this view. So there's a few other options with our information box when we select the iliacus muscle. If we just scroll through here, I want to see the motion of the muscle. So the iliacus is responsible for hip flexion. So a video will load up and it will show us the muscle action. So it highlights that muscle and it shows us the muscle's action, and I can still rotate the anatomical model and visualize the muscle. Okay, so one last thing. You can have multiple tabs in your complete anatomy, much similar to your web browser. So here I have 3 open. Let's add another one. And I can go back to the original one. And there it is. So those are some of the features that we went over today with Complete Anatomy. You were introduced to how to rotate the model, how to use some of the tools such as the cut function, the label key, the 3D and 2D pen, also the discover window to look at certain structures. You're also introduced to the information box where it gave you a bunch of features, including hiding the other anatomy and just focusing on that specific portion on the anatomy that you selected. It also gave you options for movements of the muscle, treatments to a specific organ. So continue to use Complete Anatomy. I provided some links through D2L to further your understanding of all the different features Complete Anatomy has to offer. Whoa, what's this? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to find the cardiac valve that is responsible for allowing blood to flow from the right atrium to the right ventricle using Complete Anatomy. You have many options on how to display and find this structure. Your final mission is to show a cross-section of the human organ that produces important hormones such as glucagon, insulin, and somatostatin. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. I better get to it.